Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome back to another Master of Garden video with me, MjrBloodFox, and today we are doing a Therianthrope tier list. So, in no shape or form should my word be law. If you want something to kind of bounce your ideas off of, or to see what would benefit you most, then I guess here you go. You can just kind of cross-reference with your own account or units that you have with this tier list, but in no way, shape, or form should you take this as law. These are my opinions, and yeah, for this tier list and all future tier lists, we will be referencing the site Kagemas, as that site is curated by JP players and they are just better, and the information is pretty accurate. So if you would like to take a look at that site yourself, I will have it linked down in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this. So, starting off, Snowy Rendevu Zeta. So why do I have her in SS? Well, I think that if you're going to build any sort of Therianthrope team, she is a must. If you don't have her, then that is unfortunate, but essentially she makes everything better in a Therianthrope team. So she will boost their SP and she will make them hit harder. So as I was saying, the references from Kagemas, I'll have them, up here in post edit. You'll see them on the screen. But I think that Snowy Rendevu Zeta is an absolute goated unit, one of my favorite units in the entire game. And she's not the best unit, but in terms of making a Therianthrope team, she is an absolute goat. So, moving on. Okay, so next up we have 6th member Zeta, and I'll be putting her in SS. She is an absolutely goated unit in terms of a Therianthrope unit. She will raise crit rates and inflict a ton of debuffs by inflicting poisons. And, if you're just looking for just pure DPS, this unit has got it. It's also worth mentioning she is a Shadow Festival unit, so just at base, she is already much better than most other units that are not Shadow Festival units. So, along with her weapon, at the start of wave, it'll increase the recovery amount of all allies, which is pretty good. So when paired with other Therianthropes and Delta especially, this is a pretty mean combo. But if you do not have this version of Zeta and you only have Delta, it'll still be okay. But I think that as a standalone unit, 6th member Zeta is an absolute goat. Alright, so speaking of Delta, we're going to go ahead and bring her up here as well. 4th member Delta. So this unit is kind of insane. She can either be like a bane on your life, or she can be really easy to deal with depending on what units you have. But essentially, Delta can be a pain because every time she deals damage, she creates a shield for herself. And shielding in this game is actually pretty decent. So any unit that can shield or shield itself automatically has like insane sustain. And on top of that, she deals like mad damage. Like, it is kind of stupid. Her weapon is also pretty good. If you are able to get that along with Delta, then yes, this unit can be so insane. It is crazy, especially paired with Snowy Rendevu Zeta. Like, man, this shit is just crazy. It is also worth noting 4th member Delta is a Shadow Festival unit, so they do come around every now and then, but don't expect it to be pretty often, but they do come back. We have a lot of revival banners for Shadow Festival units. It just depends on whether it's her turn or not, but yeah, on to the next unit. Okay, next up we have the Spylife Zeta. Now, initially, this unit was pretty good when she first released, but has fallen off quite a bit due to newer units being released and whatnot. So, I think I am going to rank her in, like, probably A. She's not great, but she isn't, like, terrible. So similar to 6th member Zeta, she inflicts poisons to deal most of her damage, and she has a skill that allows her to specifically target supporters, but the damage output is not good in comparison to other units now. And so that's why I am placing her in A. She also isn't ranked very highly on Kagemas, and it's probably due to the reasons that I just listed, just in comparison to other DPS units, and being kind of an older yellow attacker now. Yeah, she just kind of has fallen off a little bit, but that's mainly what she specializes in, is applying a lot of poisons and attacking supporters. So she can still have her uses, but yeah, she fell off. But let's move on to the next unit. Alright, so next up we have Moonlight Shadow Zeta. So this red attacker Zeta is pretty similar to the Spylife Zeta, just albeit a tiny bit different, but she still relies on poisons to dish out most of her damage. Where she differs a little bit is that she targets enemies with lower health, so whoever has the lowest health is who this unit will target. Now, depending on what weapon you're using, this unit can be pretty good, or this unit can be pretty ass. So, depending on if you're using her SS Plus weapon, she, in my opinion, is probably like in SS, but if you don't have her SS Plus weapon, then she's kind of like a B. Like, she's not great, and it's really unfortunate to say because I love Zeta. So I think that she's a pretty standard unit. She's part of the regular summon banner. I don't think that there's too much that needs to be said about her. She's alright, and she can be pretty decent if you use her SS Plus weapon. But I think for the sake of the tier list, most players that get her probably aren't going to have the SS Plus weapon, so I am going to leave her here in B. Alright, on to the next unit. Alright, so when you don't have OP, like yellow elemental units, you just need someone to get you through. Remember Your Duty Zeta was that unit for me. I'm a little bit biased towards this unit because it helped me with a lot of stuff in terms of story. I'm extremely grateful to this unit. You know, great unit in my opinion, but if I have to be realistic, she is kind of like a B, like maybe like low A possibly, but I'm just gonna put her in B. But when you don't have any other options, I think that she actually is a pretty decent unit in comparison to, you know, not having anything at all. But yeah, I think that she ranks in B overall. Her output just isn't up to par with what an SS unit's stats would be. You kind of have to invest a lot into her in order for her to even be like pretty optimal. So there's that. But if you're also free to play and you don't have, great units in the first place, then she is a great option in my opinion to invest resources into. But she does not have an SS plus weapon. She only has her standard weapon, and yeah, I think that she is a unit that can get you through. So, let's move on to our next unit. Okay, next unit is Snow White Spirit Fox Yukime. So, in my opinion, I think that this unit is pretty decent, like a solid unit overall. If they happen to be a blue elemental as well, they will be strengthened. She has damage reduction, she has sealing. I mean, she's just a solid unit, and her weapon is pretty decent as well. So, I think that she deserves to be put in SS, in my opinion. I think that if you have a blue composition and you just really like blue elementals, this unit is like so goated, man. But she can even be used in, for example, a Therianthrope team, and she would only be more beneficial if you had Snowy Rendevu Zeta, but having her in a blue composition or a Therianthrope team is just pretty solid in my opinion. But yeah, she provides shielding, like I said earlier, shielding is just actually like pretty good in this game. So if you have the chance to use Yukime, I would suggest doing so. I think she's pretty good. But let's go ahead and move on to the next unit. Alright, speaking of blue units and shielding, our next unit is School Rocks Zeta. So she is an alright unit in my opinion, but if you are running a blue composition, she does provide shielding to all allies. So I think that she should be in A. I don't think that she's insanely good, but I don't think that she's terrible either. Her weapon helps reduce damage, so she's a pretty, standard run-of-the-mill tank. I think that shielding, once again, is pretty strong. I think A ranking is a pretty good spot for her. So let's go ahead and move on to the next unit. Okay, so our next unit is a bit of an odd one. It is Mischievous Witch Delta. I don't think that this unit is great. I think that she belongs in the B rank. She doesn't really provide too much. She has a strange evasion quirk that doesn't really get utilized well. And yeah, in my opinion, I don't think that this is a great unit. The people that own this unit mostly pulled just because waifu and for the Halloween themed design. And yeah, I think that she's B rank. But let's move on to our next unit. Alright, our next unit is Way of the Beast Delta. Now, I'm going to place her in A. And the reason why I'm placing her here is because in terms of story, she does have a defense break, which in itself is pretty valuable, but I don't think that she's good enough to, stand out in Bushin Festival. And her ranking is actually slightly worse than Mischievous Witch Delta, but like I said, I'm putting her in A because of the defense break. Unfortunately, not the greatest unit. Her weapon is pretty mid, and yeah, I think that she deserves to be an A rank. I think that that's pretty fair. And yeah, there isn't too much to her. She's pretty straightforward. A alright unit that will get you through. Alright, moving on to Small Predator Delta. So I think that depending on what weapon you have, if you have her SS Plus or her standard one, it will change her ranking a little bit, but she is mainly only good in like PvE story, and she can do like alright single target damage, but if you have her SS Plus weapon, I think that A rank is fitting, but if not, she's definitely a B. But yeah, if she's like all you have, then like I would suggest using her over these other two in B, because at least she has an SS Plus weapon and has the potential to put out pretty good damage, at least in terms of PvE. But yeah, if you're using the standard weapon, then yeah, she's got to be a B. But let's move on to our next one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep it a buck. These last two units I have never used at all. In my entire career of playing Master of Garden, I have never used these two units. But going off their ratings off of Kagemas, they are not great. They are rated very, very low. So I made an entirely new ranking. C. They will both go in C. I didn't feel like it would be fair to place them in B, even though they are a bit worse. But yeah, that is, I think I got all the Therianthrope units in game currently. If I missed one, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed this tier list and want more, be sure to hit the like button so that I know that, you know, you guys liked it. But that's all for this video, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next vid. Hope you have a great day. Toodaloo.